I'm going to do an example of a simple interest calculation. Our question here says Mark invests $5,000 in a savings bond that earns 3% per year in simple interest. How much will he have at the end of 5 years? So when I read the question, I know this is a simple interest question because it says simple interest. I'm also going to go through and highlight any numbers that I think seem important. So I have $5,000. That's how much he's starting with. They're earning 3% per year. That's my interest rate. And then how much he'll have at 5 years. He's invested the money for a total of 5 years. That's our total amount of time. So in the previous video, we would have looked at a generic equation that you can use for simple interest, which is A equals P times 1 plus I times N. So A is the final amount, P is the starting amount or principal. That's what they call that in the financial world. Your starting amount is your principal. The 1 is just a number 1. I is your interest rate, but it has to be divided by 100. And N is the number of years. So I am down the side going to list A, P, I. I'm going to leave an extra line after the I and then N. I left a little extra space because I have to do a calculation in order to divide my interest rate by 100. So final amount. Do I know how much money he has at the end? No, it says how much money will he have at the end. So I don't actually know what that is. So I'm going to put a question mark. P is my starting amount or my principal. Do I know how much money he started with? Yes, I do. He started with $5,000. So I'm going to put $5,000 as our P or our principal. For the I, the interest rate, it is 3% per year. So I am going to put 3, but I cannot put a percent in and do a calculation. What I need to do is convert that into a decimal by dividing it by 100. 3 divided by 100 is 0.03. So my I value is going to be 0.03. And then N is the number of years. It is 5 years altogether. So I'm going to take those numbers, put them into my equation, and then follow order of operations and calculate. So for A, I'm not going to put a question mark. I'm just going to leave it as an A. P, we said, was $5,000. And then that is times 1 plus. My interest rate is 0.03. And then that is times N. So times 5. And then I'm going to close my bracket. I think I'm going to change that to a bit of a square bracket. So order of operations or BEDMAS says you have to start with brackets. So inside my bracket, I have addition and multiplication. So I'm actually going to start with the multiplication. So I have 5,000. And then I have 1 plus. So I still have that 0.03 on my calculator. I'm going to multiply it by 5 to get 0.15. And then to finish off that bracket, I'm going to add a 1 onto that to get 1.15. So I have 5,000 times 1.15. If I multiply that by 5,000, I get $5,750. So if he puts $5,000 in an account that gets 3% a year and he leaves it there for 5 years, at the end of 5 years, he should have $5,750. So I'm going to say, therefore, Mark will have $5,750. It's not too bad. He got $750 in interest. That's great. All right, if you need to see another example, we'll do one in a minute.